Hey guys, this is Andre the Fury Feely. You're listening to Verbal Scrap.
This is Rick Rieger, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast.
This is Keto Andrews, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast. This is Nan Fan, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap Podcast.
I'm a fighter. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight.
Hey, this is Dave Hirschbein, MMA Gold, and you're listening to the Verbal Scrap.
I've worked so hard to do what I got to do in here. I took so much blood for this sport. I took so much pain, everything for the sport.
Hey, y'all, this is Zeke Johnston. You're listening to SRMMA.com Verbal Scrap. Stay tuned. They got some good stuff coming up.
That man is correct. We are on the 34th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. I am live in studio with bassist Jay Bear of Dire Peril. How are you doing today?
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Dire Peril is a local, ridiculously awesome metal group in the Sacramento area. You got a show coming up soon, don't you?
Yeah, we got a show coming up this Saturday in Sunnyvale. It's a free show, 21 and over, though.
21 and over. So if you're 21 and over, you got to check out our live in studio guest, Dire Peril. We are here on the 34th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast. So much to get in store. I'm going to tell you guys the SRMMA award winners. If you haven't been checking out the website, I'll go ahead and dish those out for you. We got some tough 17 news with Keto Andrews, Scott Rosa, and Mike Pearsons of Stockton on the show. So we're going to be talking about that for you. A lot of UFC things happened. UFC on FX with Bisping and Belfort. If you didn't get a chance to see those highlights or talk about them, hear what went down, we're definitely going to be talking about that. And the fight that just happened not too long ago on Fox, right? Dodson versus Johnson for the flyweight title and the co-main event. Wow, that was outstanding. Anthony Pettis and Donald Cerrone. I know, Jay, you saw that fight.
Yeah, I did see that one. That was pretty good.
Now, I have to say, you respect the kicks a little bit more after seeing that fight, don't you?
Yeah, seriously.
You don't want to get kicked in the midsection.
It hurts.
It looks like I'd rather be kicked in the legs or maybe in the shoulders, just not the midsection or face.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
I mean, livers and organs. That is, you know what, now that I think about it, I'd rather be kicked in the face than the body. It's just body blows seem so vicious.
No, getting kicked in the face hurts too.
No, it definitely does get kicked in the getting kicked in the face is not, just getting kicked is bad.
Yeah,
Let's not do that. Co-main event, Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone getting kicked. We'll talk more about that. There's so much live coverage. West Coast Fighting 4 took place recently with Dave Badman, Huckabee, Carter Williams in the main event of the evening. Max Payne Griffin was back in action, taking on Richard Rig Maiden of Stockton, Sencal MMA. We also have Art of War news. The ladies stole the show. Mercedes Campos, Justine Estrada. So many females at the Art of War event that took place on the 19th of January. And also back in Tahoe, it was freezing cold in Tahoe. But on the 12th, I was at MMA at the Lake. World Fighting Championships event took place. Corey Carlson and Justin McLean fought for the vacant lightweight title. For World Fighting Championships, we got fighter interviews, all that stuff. You guys know you can always find us on iTunes, the RSS feed. You can download us on iTunes with all kinds of stuff that you already listen to. I listen to ESPN stuff all the time because I'm a sports junkie. But you can download the Verbal Scrap Podcast anytime. Let's first get into some pretty big national news. The national news that I'm interested right now in is UFC on FX7, Bisping versus Belfort. For you guys that hadn't get a chance to seen it, January 19th, São Paulo, Brazil, was Vitor Belfort was returned to the cage. Since fighting John Jones for the light heavyweight title, he took on Micheal Bisping. Michael the Count Bisping, a guy who's pretty much next in line. They said if he was going to win, if he beat Belfort, he'd be the next guy to fight Anderson Silva for the middleweight title. Let's listen to some highlights and see how it actually went down.
Would it be the Phenom adding to his record number of first-round finishes, or did the Count earn himself a title shot at 185? Chael Sonnen, take us through the highlights.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really thought that Bisping not only had a good strategy, but that he implemented it quite well. And what that was to circle just as he's doing. Circle, well, here's Vitor getting off a little bit in an exchange, and Vitor is so powerful and explosive, but the Count weathered the storm. We go into round two. The odds greatly go up for Micheal Bisping. Boom, until you see the big head kick. One thing we didn't talk about Vitor doing. We know he throws a big power left hand. We didn't take into consideration the power left high kick.
This is the old lion doing what he does, and this is him seeing the head kick land in the first round. Bisping was doing a great job circling away from Vitor's power. And then Vitor read that head kick after he landed it in round one, went back to round two, and he got Bisping to walk into his power by moving. When he did that, he threw the head kick and landed it. It's beautiful.
Well, let's take a look at the scorecard. Vitor Belfort now 8-2 in his last 10 fights. It is his 15th career TKO or TKO. His UFC record is now 11-6. Micheal Bisping dropping his record now to 13-5.
Micheal Bisping, his second loss in the last 3 fights for him. You, Jay Bear of Dire Peril, you just saw the highlights yourself. You saw Vitor Belfort. That was the man with the outstanding mohawk, by the way. Yeah. Shout out to Belfort. He's making me think that a mohawk might be next in store for me because I'm due for a haircut.
I know I can't do it.
No, you couldn't do it. Our guest in studio, let me explain him. He has an outstanding mustache and long, flowing black hair. He's just so metal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I couldn't. If you guys didn't have an idea of what Dire Peril is, now you do. He is metal to the bone, and now he's going to tell us what you think about that head kick Vitor Belfort just implemented on Micheal Bisping.
It looked like that hurt.
It definitely looked like that hurt. And it definitely hurt more ways than just the knockout because Micheal Bisping was definitely in line to fight Anderson Silva. He's been talking about a championship matchup time and time again, and I've grown to like this guy. This British guy, he talks the best crap in the business. Like, Chael Sonnen talks good crap. This guy talks the best crap. And he was next in line. Then he gets beaten, so that kind of puts Chris Weidman, UFC middleweight, probably the next to have a reasonable shot at Anderson Silva. And for you guys that didn't get a chance to see it, UFC on Fox was also available. But first, I wanted to give a shout out to our national sponsor, Midtown Village Cafe. For you guys that don't know, it's located on 19th and I Street, which is 2 blocks from the world-renowned Ultimate Fitness. For all you fighters out there, they have a super pro fighter-friendly menu with sandwiches, salads. They have anything you want from beer to coffee. I mean, how awesome is that? Free Wi-Fi with a beer and an awesome sandwich.
That's a pretty good deal right there.
I mean, how can you go wrong? Midtown Village Cafe, you can hit them up on Facebook, 19th and I. Check them out. So back on to the national news. UFC on Fox, for you guys that didn't get a chance to check that one out recently. John Dodson versus Demetrius Johnson for the Flyweight Championship. 2 tiny little men, probably the fastest guys in the business. And I just have to name drop. I was texting this fighter, Andre Feely, who's awesome. And he texted me, He thought that Demetrius Johnson was still going to pull it out, even though Dodson was a scary guy. And I have to give him props for that because I called the Dodson upset, and it looked like really early there was a chance that was going to happen. But because he was able to knock Johnson down, and it looked like I was going to be right. But I have to say I was wrong. I was totally wrong. And I wanted to ask you, Jay, you've seen some different fights. What do you think about the differences in fights you've seen between really big guys fighting and really tiny guys fighting?
The smaller ones, those guys tend to be a lot quicker. Like, all their movements seem to be quicker. Like, they throw punches faster. Just all around, just faster.
Do you find that more entertaining? As like a casual fan, a viewer, do you like the big heavy men that stand in front of each other and punch, or do you like little tiny guys that just fly around? What do you like?
Like maybe the faster stuff, just because it gives you more to look at instead of just kind of
instead of just the good old boring punch to the face.
Yeah.
That stuff is getting outdated. Well, the flyweight division now, you got John Dodson, who dropped weight, took on Demetrius Johnson. For you guys that didn't have a chance to check out any of the highlights, let's hear Chael Sonnen's interpretation of how the events went down that evening.
Break this thing down, so let's rack the highlight. It was Demetrius Johnson putting his flyweight title on the line for the first time, taking on the Ultimate Fighter Season 14 winner, John Dodson. Dom, certainly the little guys put on the show, and it was Dodson who got off to a pretty quick start.
I was really impressed with Dodson's speed and power in the beginning of the round. I mean, the first 2 rounds, it was all Dodson. He was able to counter just like he's done with everybody. He waits, and then he lands his power shots on the back foot. What I didn't like about Johnson was the way that he was chasing Dodson. You cannot chase a guy like Dodson who's got power punching because it allows him to set on his back foot and sit down on his punches. That was what he did very well in the first 3 rounds against Johnson. The championship rounds were all Johnson, though. He came forward and was able to do anything he wanted.
Look, it was truly remarkable, the power that Dodson's able to generate, sending our champion down. Equally remarkable was the recovery time, less than 1 second until Demetrius Johnson pounced back up to his feet. Now, this is the 5th round. This was all Johnson. This was the only clear-cut round, in my opinion. This was the tail of the round. Big knees. Dodson really had no answer to that. At one point, he even turned away. There's the decision. I was surprised.
Yeah, I guess the only scorecard that really surprised me was 49-46 for the champion Demetrius Johnson, which means 4 rounds to 1. But, of course, when you're looking big picture, guys, the gas tank for Demetrius Johnson down the stretch. He looks very much the part of a guy who could go 10 rounds on any given night.
And now that you saw those highlights, your assessment of how those little guys go around, spinning back and forth, landing a lot of shots, he landed some devastating knees, and that was after coming back from Dodson, who was able to drop him. I mean, you saw that Dodson was dropping him, and then now the champion comes back and lands some vicious knees in the late rounds. I mean, what were your thoughts on the excitement level, Jay, about just watching the replay of these little tiny guys going at it?
It was kind of nice seeing a big punch Kind of out a little guy like that.
John Dodson, his nickname is the Magician, and he pulled that one out of his hat. Ooh, you like what I did there? Yeah, I'm not going to take too much credit. But yes, UFC on Fox, Dodson versus Johnson. I mean, you think of some of the heavyweight matchups that you've seen before, right? You know, you think of guys like Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem. What do you find to be the most exciting thing about watching big guys fight? And then what do you find to be the most exciting thing about, you know, the differences when you get to go from big guys to little guys?
Well, with like the bigger guys, you get a lot more like power and stuff.
It's always good to see a powerful, ridiculous knockout.
Yeah, that's always fun to see. But like with the smaller ones, you kind of get to see more, not dancing, but like...
It's beautiful dancing. They're like peacocks.
Yeah.
You know, they're just flowing around with punches and kicks, though. I mean, well, now that we've had a chance to talk about some of the main news, we'll get back into the UFC on Fox. There's so much more stuff that was on there. Anthony Pettis took on Donald Cerrone. Don't give it away, but I know you like that fight, right?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I mean, have we talked about it? Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you about the guest a little bit more. Not too much in depth right now, but just give us a sense about Dire Peril, where you guys come from really quickly and just kind of what your sound is.
All right, well, yeah, we're kind of like a heavier power thrash metal kind of band. Along the veins of like Iced Earth and
I like Iced Earth. I'm not gonna
Iced
lie.
Earth is pretty good. And it's a band. Jason, the guitar player, our main guy, he started a few years ago when he was in another band, and he's been kind of looking for different people to do stuff, but like he was having kind of a hard time looking for things. And then he asked me if I wanted to record the album he was going to do. Like he's just starting it on his own. And so then, as the recording went on, he asked well, since you already know the tunes, you want to be in the band? I was like, yeah, might as well.
Yeah, I mean, I already know the stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like you had to learn anything ridiculous, right?
Yeah, plus it's like, I don't think you'd be able to find anybody better.
But how do the parties go? I mean, that's what I really want to know. Like, do these guys party well?
Yeah, they do party pretty well.
And by party well, do they outdrink you? I mean, you drink a good amount if you want to. I mean, you have a Sierra Nevada, right? I mean, they don't pay us to say that, but... I mean, you do, right?
Yeah, it's about even, I suppose.
Yeah, so, I mean, your thoughts about, and you yourself have been a musician for much longer than you've been in Dire Peril. What are your thoughts about this band and just like the chemistry and the dynamic compared to other bands you've worked with?
Well, the music itself is definitely a lot more demanding versus some of the other other bands I've been in. And it's interesting.
Meaning, like, you got to play more? Meaning it's longer? I mean, what do you mean by demanding on you as a bassist?
There's more intricate parts. There's harder rhythms and everything.
So is that something that you think about when you're thinking of, should I get into a new band? You're like, can I handle that?
Yeah, definitely.
And how do you go about, overcoming those things?
Practice?
Yeah. But I've seen practice with some awesome bands, and it's usually a drunken madness.
Yeah.
That's how we practice. Drunken madness. Well, for you guys that don't know, we're going to be checking out an awesome tune of theirs later called Twisted Whispers. I have to say, I think Twisted Whiskers would be a much more awesome name, but I'm not in the band and I have no say, so who am I? But I wanted to get into the SRMMA award winners. For you guys that haven't been checking out SRMMA, we posted back on the 14th of January the different winners. For 2 weeks, fans were able to go check out all the nominees, check out MMA Fighter of the Year, Amateur Fighter of the Year, Finish of the Year. And so let's just go ahead and get a quick announcement. Fighter of the Year in the female division, Cynthia Calvillo. She was able to take home the title with 56% of the vote, which is pretty awesome. If you're able to take home 56% of any vote, that's a big win. Male Fighter of the Year, Joe 9 Lives Neal. So shout out to him for everything he was doing. He pulled out multiple victories throughout the year. Ended up with titles in 2 different states, which has got to be kind of cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I got a title here, and I'm the best in your state, but I don't even live there, just so you know. Never even been. I don't know if he's ever been. He may have been everywhere. But Pro Finish of the Year, Max Payne Griffin. We got some photos of Max Payne. You can check out our Facebook, facebook.com/SRMMA. He was able to knock out Jaime Jara earlier in the year, which was a big, big finish for him, and he took home 57% of the vote. Amateur Finish of the Year, Matt Ramirez TKO'd Anthony Doe at World Combat Series. You can check out SRMA.com for that video. You got to watch it. The highlights are outstanding. This kid is looking phenomenal. He's a phenomenal talent, he's actually going to be fighting the 16th of February in Salinas. You can check out Central Coast Throwdown, ccthrowdown.com for ticket information for that. He's back on that card. He's the backdrop of SRMMA.com right now. You can check that out too. So he took home Amateur Finish of the Year, and Fight of the Year was Jeremiah Labiano versus J.R. Villanueva with 2 200 of those votes just right for his way. So congratulations to those guys for all the SRMMA award winners. Wanted to break some news for you guys that haven't heard. Dave Badman Huckabee just signed a 5-fight deal with World Series of MMA. So, it was we were talking about the opportunity for him to potentially sign that with West Coast, but it seems like World Series of Fighting just is signing up all the heavyweight talent, and we're going to be talking to him later. He spoke to us when he fought at West Coast Fighting 4. So there's some World Series of MMA fighting news for you guys, and now I wanted to get back into the UFC on Fox. Anthony Pettis versus Donald Cerrone. I know that Jay Bear and I have discussed it extensively in the opening of the show. But for you guys that didn't have an opportunity to check out any of the highlights, let's listen in and see how this fight actually finished.
It was a fight a long time in the making. Anthony Pettis squaring off against Donald Cerrone. Showtime looking to put his name into the title hunt with a win against the perennial contender Cerrone. And Dominic, he did just that.
Anthony Pettis put a spin in this fight on everybody, made it uneven. And what he did was he switched to southpaw for some of this fight. And what that does is, being a stationary fighter, it opens up the body because Cerrone always blocks the head to the boxing. Also, look at Nate Diaz and his success against Cerrone as a southpaw. He was able to outbox him and put the pressure on. That made Cerrone think twice when he came out as a southpaw. They were not expecting that, and it made a lot of openings, I believe.
So Anthony Pettis is your winner by TKO. Donald Cerrone, his 25th professional fight. He had never been finished by strikes, and you just don't see Cerrone get crumpled like that.
You really don't, and I haven't seen him crumpled like that before. But, now that the highlights have been talked about, I mean, what do you think about how kickboxing and the kicks, you used to see a lot of guys throwing punches. Jiu-jitsu made its way into the UFC, obviously, from the beginning, so a lot of people were taking that on. Then wrestling comes. Then, people start working on the stand-up game. But now kicks are such a huge part of the game. And I know watching any UFC, you have to see guys getting kicked all the time. Yep. So, what are your thoughts about how devastating some of these kicks were? I mean, did you used to think that kicks were so powerful maybe when you were younger? Or, I mean, what are your thoughts on how ridiculously painful kicks have to be now that you've seen so many of them?
Well, that one looked like it hurt. Cause
that was true.
Well, before you see fights, whenever you see a kick, it's just kind of, you just throw your leg at them. It just seemed more like of an annoyance before. But now that one, that was a...
Now it looks like they're punches. They're people start off combinations I'll throw 2-3 of these kicks, maybe 4 of these kicks, and then some punches.
Hurts the ribs.
Oh my God, it hurts the ribs so bad. And it looked like Donald Cerrone, who, he just had a 2-fight win streak snapped by Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis versus the champion Benson Henderson looks like it's a matchup that's destined to happen. For you guys that didn't get a chance to see, they fought, I believe it was the last WEC event, and that was when Anthony Pettis jumped on the cage and pushed off of it and kicked Benson in the face and dropped him. So, I mean, that is an epic matchup, and now it looks like it's kind of set to go in the near future. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed by the UFC as far as I know, but that definitely seems like a matchup that is on the horizon. And for you guys that also didn't know about the UFC on Fox card, there's one other fight I had to talk about, was Quentin Rampage Jackson against Clover Teixeira, a bad Brazilian. He's just a bad man. These guys were set to match up before. Rampage Jackson actually got injured, and the UFC was like, no, it's cool. We can still make that happen. So January 26th, the Ultimate Fighting UFC on Fox card. The third fight, the main bill, was definitely main event of the evening status for most cards, but on this Fox card it wasn't. And Glover Teixeira came in, and he made Rampage look like an older version of Rampage. I mean, I know you've seen Rampage Jackson in movies, right?
I pity the fool.
I thought he actually did a good job.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was great.
I was surprised. I'm not even going to lie. I was like, Rampage Jackson plays Mr. T. I'm down to see this. And it actually turned out pretty well. Yeah. Now, do you think that he actually has a legitimate movie career?
No.
Now, what would be your assessment of types of movies he would be? It would be like a rock kind of guy?
Yeah, kind of, just... like one-off things, kind of, like the Scorpion King or something.
But he'd be Rampage Jackson, the Mr. T King.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Here's the big question I had to ask you. If you had to watch one movie and it was The Rock or Quentin Rampage Jackson, who are you taking?
The Rock.
Does that make you feel good to say that, though? I mean, do you like The Rock in movies?
Yeah.
He was in the Tooth Fairy movie, for God's sake.
Well, Fast and Furious was all right.
Really?
I liked it.
I'm not going to go there anymore. But let's get back to the highlights. Rampage Jackson versus Glover Teixeira. Let's hear what the events actually took place.
Both of these guys delivered. Now, Teixeira was here based on reputation and expectation versus Rampage, who was here because of his wins. Now, this was very impressive. This is the very opening of the first round. Rampage, of course, powers back up to his feet. A lot of boxing. There, Rampage went for a takedown. Now, guys, he told us all he would never do that. That wasn't his only time. He actually went to it later in the fight as well. Gets swarmed on back to his feet. Teixeira with a single switches off to a double. Very good wrestling. Again, Rampage powers up and starts delivering shots of his own. This was a really back and forth affair. It was very clear who was winning. It was very clear that Teixeira won the whole fight. Absolutely entertaining, and Quentin Jackson stood his ground. This is the end of the fight to close out. Actually, where Rampage is typically and historically at his most dangerous with about 10 seconds left. Not in this one.
All right, so Quentin Rampage Jackson goes the distance with Glover Teixeira, and I don't know that a ton of light heavyweights are going to be able to withstand 15 minutes with that guy, who is certainly an up-and-comer. Here's the scorecard for you. See Glover Teixeira making his third UFC appearance.
18-fight win streak for Glover Teixeira. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a big number. And Rampage Jackson loses his third straight UFC fight in a row. This is, I believe, his last fight in the UFC, as far as I'm aware. And, he hasn't really enjoyed the UFC. But seeing those highlights, do you think he's a better fighter or actor?
Actor.
And is that only because you just saw that? I mean, let's be fair.
But, yeah.
Well, at least we know the truth behind it. But Rampage Jackson, he looked dangerous at times. He was winging punches, as you saw in the highlights. Did you see anything in the fight that was the most exciting to you? I mean, which guy did you think that you think actually looked like he wanted it the most?
The other guy.
The other guy.
Yeah.
And we're assuming it's not Rampage.
Yeah, the other guy.
The non-Rampage guy.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
It's Glover Teixeira.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows that. I can't believe you didn't know that. I can't believe it. It's ridiculous. Glover Teixeira pulls out another victory. And like I said, 18-fight win streak in the light heavyweight division. This cat is definitely dangerous. The next UFC event is going to be UFC 156. Jose Aldo taking on Frankie Edgar next week. We got a lot in store for you left on the show. We got Art of War post-fight coverage, also MMA at the Lake coverage. We also have West Coast Fighting. For you guys that don't know Max Payne, Anthony Hernandez, you'll definitely know about them, and check out srmma.com for those. You can check us out on Twitter at SRMMA Tweets and on our Facebook right now /SRMMA. I wanted to really quickly talk to you guys about dire peril in the sense of, what you guys plan for the future. I mean, what do you think about this outlook of the band? Where do you guys want to go with this? What are your thoughts about the sound? Different things you got in store.
Well, we're just hoping, take as far as we can. We're finishing up recording the new album here through Time and Space. We got the EP recorded, and it's available on Amazon.com. It's called the Astronomical Minds EP by Dire Peril.
That's a sick title.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I might steal that for a podcast episode, if you don't mind.
Yeah, but it's on Amazon and iTunes, and then we're just finishing up the album. We got a few shows coming up this Saturday, like I said before, in Sunnyvale at the Quarter Note. It's a free show.
21 and up, though. You got to be 21. If you're not 21, you don't listen anymore. Yeah. Sorry.
And then on
at least for this segment, you keep listening later.
Oh yeah. I'll keep listening.
Yes, definitely.
And then February 22nd, we're playing in Lake Tahoe at Whiskey Dick's.
It's really cold in Tahoe.
Yeah, it is.
When I was in Tahoe, we were outside probably like 3 a.m. My photographer whips out his phone, says -9. I didn't even know you could go below that in California. I had no idea. I was not aware that it could be that cold. And I did not like the cold. So how heavy are you going to have to rock out to make it not cold in Tahoe?
Like pretty heavy.
Is that a plan at least, or are you just is that like a wishful? Yeah, we might play heavy.
We feel like we'll play a little heavy, but no, we'll probably have to rock out pretty hard to stay warm.
Have you ever been to Whiskey Dick's before? I've never been there.
No, I have not.
So, what's your excitement level playing at a place at least called Whiskey Dick's?
That's pretty funny.
I've been telling all my friends. It was February 22nd, you said?
February 22nd.
February 22nd, Lake Tahoe. We're going to be hearing in a second Twisted Whispers from Dire Peril. Wanted to give West Coast Nutrition a shout out. One of our sponsors for the show. You can check out WCNstores.com for all kinds of nutrition. You can find all kinds of equipment as well, new shakers, anything you need, WCNstores.com. Just before we get into the song and all that stuff, where's where's a good place for fans to reach you? You know, do you guys have a Facebook? Do you guys have email? What Reverb Nation? You know, what kind of stuff do you guys have going on?
I would say the best place to hit us up would be facebook.com/DirePeril.
And you guys spell that DirePeril.
Yeah, all just one word.
All one word. And I have to say, I've seen the Facebook. Outstanding graphics. Where do you guys pick that up from? I mean, you guys have all the cool cartoony things going on.
The main guy, Jason, has a buddy that does all the art for him. I'm not really sure who, but...
We'll just call him a secret buddy.
Yeah, secret.
Well, shout out to Secret Buddy who does all the art. I mean, if you're listening, you do a great job. Great job on that.
Yeah.
So Facebook is the best way. Is there a place for fans to check out your music? Is it also on like a playlist on Facebook?
It's on the Facebook too.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can get it through Amazon or iTunes.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you, anything in particular you'd like to give a shout out to? You know, any fans, any places, anything you like to let the fans know before we get into listening to this awesome Twisted Whispers, which should be known as Whiskers?
No, just want to say hi to my girlfriend Angelina.
I hear she's a nice lady.
She is very nice.
Have
lady.
I met this girl?
I believe so.
A few times?
A couple times.
She seems very nice when I believe I have met her.
Yeah. I think you'd like her.
Well, right now we're about to play Twisted Whispers. I want to give a thank you to Jay Bear, our in-studio guest from the band Dire Peril. You can check out facebook.com/DirePeril, all one word. Check out their music. We got one song for you now. We're going to play it, and then we'll be right back after a commercial break with all the live coverage from Art of War, West Coast Fighting, and everything else SRFMA has been covering.
Across the world that is not insane, we now ask ourselves, why has nothing changed? Global plot created to control our lives, and puppet master rules the dance with a devious smile. Hold your breath now, you must act quick. Break these chains and refuse to change. The master plan to domesticate the land. Round us up, the desecration is at hand. We find ourselves cornered, back against the wall. It's time to fight back with your fears and stand tall. Hold your breath now, you must act quick. Break these chains and refuse the chain. Battered, beaten, worn, your mind is torn. The seeds are planted in this brainwash horde. Your views by corporate media, we are fooled. Like trolls who play the part and follow through. Hold your breath now, you must act quick. Break these chains and refuse the chain. Come with me now, salvation's at hand. This new world will not suffer. Come with me now, reclaim this land. This new world will not suffer. It's time to open your eyes, the truth will set you free. Many times seen before throughout history. Battered, beaten, worn, your mind is torn. The seeds are planted in this brainwash horde. Hold your breath now, you must act quick. Break these chains and refuse to change. Come with me now, salvation's at hand. This new world will not suffer. Come with me now, reclaim this land. This new world will not suffer.
SRMMA.com presents the Verbal Scrap Podcast, your source for comprehensive combat coverage. Find awesome fight photos and videos. Facebook.com/SRMMA. Tweet us your fight thoughts at SRMMA Tweets. Live coverage at SRMMA.com.
We are back on the 34th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, now getting into some live local coverage that SRMMA was able to cover. Be sure to check us out on iTunes, by the way, if you're liking what you're hearing on the Verbal Scrap Podcast. We're going to be talking right now about World Fighting Championships event that happened at Lake Tahoe. It was MMA at the lake. Corey Carlson took on Justin McLean for the lightweight WFC vacant amateur title, and he was able to pull off a beautiful victory. We have a couple interviews from the show. Let's start off first with Leo Rodello, who was also victorious in his Tahoe fight. Let's hear what he had to say after the event.
This is Jay Watt from SRMMA.com. We're here at World Fighting Championships in Lake Tahoe, talking to a victorious Leo Rodello. I wanted to ask you first, how does it feel to get another victory?
It's one of the best feelings that I can have. It's hard to describe how it feels, but it feels really good.
Well, training out of South Lake Tahoe, and you're here at Mont Bleu in Lake Tahoe. What's that like for a competitor?
I mean, it's been a while since I competed, but once the fights came back up here, I just jumped on the opportunity, and it's been really cool. Being on the poster and everything. I'm definitely really proud of that.
Well, one of my other writers had a comment about High Sierra strength. It seems like you guys are really good on the ground game with wrestling. Is that something that you guys train often, considering?
It's actually me and one of the coaches. We've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time. I just came in with training with these guys for about a year. And there's actually a lot of other guys that just have their own styles, but we're putting it together and we're helping each other out.
Well, at one point during the fight, you had people chanting out Leo. I mean, what's that feeling give you? Does it give you energy in the cage? I mean, what are your thoughts while you're inside the cage with people chanting your name?
Yeah, definitely. I really needed that boost. I was really, surprisingly, I just gasped, and I heard my name being called, and I knew I had to step it up a little more. So it definitely does help with the adrenaline and to keep moving.
Well, last question I had for you. What are your thoughts on being involved with atmospheres like this, and is it something you want to keep continuing as maybe a career or hobby down the road?
Yeah, I absolutely love these atmospheres, and I'm going to think about doing MMA in the future, but I'm going to really I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner, so I definitely I'm going to concentrate on doing a lot of tournaments and see if I can get up to a really high level there. So.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you for talking to us, Leo.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now on to a submission that I was stoked about. If you guys haven't seen a Vlan flu choke in the flesh before, it's outstanding. You don't even see it coming. I don't even know how the fighters could see it coming if they were trying to defend it. But Jalen Reed, also at the World Fighting Championships event in Lake Tahoe, he was able to pull out a beautiful first-round Vaughn flu choke. For you guys that don't know, it's a shoulder choke where you kind of use your shoulder to cut off the carotid artery on one side of the body, and the rest of your body is going to be cutting off the other side. And he choked him out with the quickness in a second. The referee didn't even see the stoppage right away, and Reed looked like a cool cucumber, like he had done it before, hitting home runs all day long. We were able to speak to him afterwards. He had a few smiles. He was definitely smile-driven, but he had a few words for us as well, so let's hear what he had to say.
This is Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at the World Fighting Championships with Jalon Reed, who's victorious. Really quick submission victory. I mean, how does it feel to come into South Lake Tahoe and beat a South Lake Tahoe boy?
It feels good. I trained pretty hard for this. I knew that if it went all 3 rounds, I'd probably end up getting pretty tired because of the elevation up here. Not used to it, but yeah, I trained pretty good for this fight, and I came prepared.
Well, I mean, Team Carnage, what kind of training did you focus on, with an opponent that's 2-1 as well? I mean, was there anything in particular that you were hoping to focus on and get better in this fight, or is the submission game something you were working on particularly, or just come to you?
I was actually planning on standing with him. That was what we were game planning on back here, but I just saw the opportunity to take him down. That's probably where I'm best at, so I just decided to go for it.
Well, it looked like the referee was even confused for a quick second. He didn't know he was out. I mean, did you feel that when you were implementing the submission?
He was out for a long time. I could feel. I just didn't want to let go because I didn't feel like maybe if he wasn't out, he'd get up and maybe go for the guillotine again. So decided to just keep holding on to it. My coaches told me that he probably wasn't going to tap. So.
I mean, what are your thoughts coming into, an atmosphere like this, like Mont Bleu Theater? It's a really nice venue. I mean, what were your thoughts on just taking part in this, the whole scenery here?
I didn't really pay attention too much to the scenery or anyone in the crowd. I just tried to focus on the fight, and yeah.
One last thing for you. I mean, is this something that you're focusing on to maybe potentially be a career in the future? Is this still a hobby for you? I mean, where do you want to take this now that you've been able to continue your successful ways?
I want to eventually go pro, but I don't know if it's going to be like a full-time thing. Maybe just more of a hobby. So.
Well, you can check out all kinds of post-fight coverage at srmma.com. Thank you so much for talking to us, and it was a really great fight. It was exciting to watch it.
Thank you.
We also spoke with World Fighting Championships promoter Matt McGovern, who gave us his assessment of the main event fight of the evening for the lightweight title, his thoughts about whether Justin McLean or Corey Carlson would be a suitable champion for his organization. So let's hear what the man had to say.
This is Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at World Fighting Championships with promoter Matt McGovern. Wanted to ask you, this main event of the evening, it's about to go down. What are your thoughts on the card so far?
Dude, it's been unbelievable. The crowd support's been crazy. We have, at capacity place, so you can't complain that way. And the fights have been great, all but about one. There's been chokeouts, knockouts, and this main event's going to be insane. Two stand-up guys, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, about the matchup itself, you got the hometown Corey Carlson taking on Justin McLean, who's a game opponent, stepping up and taking the title shot. I mean, what are your thoughts on him stepping up as a replacement and the matchup itself?
Yeah, Justin stepped up. Both of their opponents fell out, so the idea was to get them to fight for a title fight in March. But since both guys fell out, I said, let's make it happen. And they said, hell yeah. So, Corey's probably the underdog. He's 3-2. Local guy. He's won 3 fights by stoppage in the first round. But Justin's been in some tough competition in California, and he's 7-2. So plus he's 6'3". So it's gonna be an interesting matchup, and I don't blink because either guy has the power to put it out.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to have a title on the line, and have another potential representative of World Fighting Championships? I mean, what do you think of either fighter representing you guys in that capacity?
Either guy would be great. You know what I mean? Corey, he's has a long, big, strong support here, but Justin's got a pedigree that you want as your champion. We don't give away titles here, so both these guys have been earning. We get to enjoy it, so I'd be happy with either one.
You can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. Thank you for talking to us, Matt.
Thank you, SRMMA. It's been great. Thank you for the support.
After an early opening exchange with Corey White Mamba Carlson landing some quality leg kicks, Justin McLean came back, landed with a right hand, and Diehard actually took the fight to the mat, which was something that his coach later told me wasn't part of the game plan, but McLean said he had saw it. But during the ground battle, BJJ was all Corey Carlson as he switched over using an armbar to pull out the finish at the 133 mark of the opening round. He was the new WFC lightweight champion. I was able to speak to him in his upstairs abode after the fight. So let's hear what the new champion, Mr. Carlson, had to say.
This is Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at World Fighting Championships post-fight with a victorious Corey Carlson. How does it feel, first and foremost, to be announced as a title winner?
It feels amazing. I mean, this is what we work to do. It takes some time and some effort, but yeah, I feel great.
Well, Justin McLean, your opponent, he came in, he was really game, he was able to throw strikes early. I mean, what did you take from that, the aggression? What did you want to do to counter that, or was there a game plan coming in?
Well, he's a southpaw, so I was just really looking to angle and use my cross to his body because he was pretty skinny. He was 6'3" at 160, so his body was pretty susceptible to round kicks because I'm a karate fighter. I like to throw those angles, and that's kind of what I landed off the bat, and I think that's why it clinched up. He was like, holy shit. Yeah. But he landed a right hand on me, rocked me a little bit, got me in the mood, and then he took me down, and yeah, pretty much it.
Well, before the fight, he was talking about you guys maybe used to train together, and he was very confident that he was going to bring the title back to Salinas and be fighting in front of your home crowd. What does it mean to keep that title here with you?
Oh, man, it's great. I've loved to represent this town. We've been up here for 6 years, and yeah, we work hard. I have the best training partners and the best coaches that anyone could have, so I'm very grateful. And yeah, I'm excited.
Well, I talked to Matt McGovern, and he spoke before the fight. He said that he would be very happy to have you as a representative of his organization carrying that title. What does it mean to you to not only have the opportunity to fight in an organization like World Fighting, but they're proud to have you as the face of their particular belt?
Well, it just goes to show that whatever I'm doing now, the hard work I'm putting in is really paying off, and that's what we look for in martial arts in general. It's not just something you can do overnight. You have to work your ass off and go through the pain and the anguish, and yeah, it's all part of it. And I feel really grateful that I'm in the position where I'm at, to where I'm excited to watch the fight, obviously, because Matt wants me to represent, and it's just a really good feeling.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. Thank you for talking to us, 160-pound champ Corey Carlson.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Time for some more local coverage from srma.com. Remember that our local coverage is brought to you by MMA Gold. You can check out MMAGold.com. They're a full-service fighter management company, and what they try to do is tailor each management approach to the individual needs of the fighters that they represent. So check out MMAGold.com if you're interested in gear, fight management, and more. On to West Coast Fighting 4, which happened in Sacramento, California, McClellan Air Force Base, with Dave Badman Huckabee taking on Carter Williams in the main event for the vacant heavyweight title. Also on the card, Max Payne Griffin, Anthony Hernandez, my apologies. Anthony Hernandez took on Matt Wilson for the vacant West Coast Fighting middleweight amateur title. And also, one of my favorite stories, for you guys that didn't have a chance to hear about it, by checking out srma.com. You can follow us right now by checking out the website. Ryan Coulson made his amateur MMA debut. He's a former New England Patriots football player, played probably the last 3 years for the New England Patriots, out of Elk Grove, California, came back, made his MMA debut, and made short work. And everybody told me it was probably going to be impossible to get any quality words out of him, but I think he had quite a bit to say. So let's hear what Mr. Coulson had to say.
This is JWoww from srma.com. We're here live at the West Coast Fighting 4 event. Victorious Ryan Coulson in your MMA debut. What are your first thoughts of your first impressions of being inside the cage and on an organization like this that really cares about putting on a good show?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was nicer than I thought, at least. So I've been to some amateur fights and they were awful. Yeah. So it was I thought it was pretty well ran a little bit, so it was all right.
Well, being from Elk Grove, you're back in basically Sac. You had a huge fan base. What are some of your fans' friendly thoughts when you told them, hey, I'm going to be cage fighting? What do you think about that?
Well, the tickets sold themselves, that's for sure. So, for sure. I have such a good family and such good friends that if whatever I do, they'll be there. So, I could have sold 200 tickets tonight if I wanted to. I had to turn people away. So,
well, coming into this fight, making your debut in mixed martial arts, what was your goal? Is this something that you see yourself doing as a career in the future, or is this a hobby for now? Where do you assess yourself in this game?
I think I could do it. I got a year plan, and I'm going to stick to it. And if it all works out, then we'll be going big.
Well, MMA Gold. Last thing I wanted to ask you. You getting into this game, what do you think that they do for you that helps you excel out here and being in Folsom MMA? What do you think of the new environment, training partners, that, etc.?
I think it's good, man. They've been great to me. Real nice, good people, and they're pretty loyal. I come from such a tight knit group that whoever I go and train with, or whoever I'm with, has got to be good people as well. So they're all good. And Matt Wilson, he had a tough one tonight, but he's a great friend of mine, and he helps me a lot. Just along with everyone else. So it's good. I like it.
We can find post fight coverage at srma.com. Thank you so much for talking to us, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem.
Also on the card was one of my local favorites, amateur standout Benito Lopez. He's a two-time AMMA champion, and he was able to finish in the very first round of his amateur fight at the West Coast undercard with a mounted triangle TKO. If you guys want to check it out, you can check out srma.com for the coverage. But Benito Lopez spoke with us afterwards. He discussed how he likes to use the triangle to set up his strike. So let's hear what Mr. Lopez had to say.
So about the fight itself, he was able to get you in the takedown. He got you in the guard, and you were able to slip in a triangle, use that to transform, what you had going on the ground into a full mount dominant position. Can you tell us a little bit about the transition? Is that something you work on in training?
Yeah, the triangle is obviously my favorite move. I didn't want to say it, but yes, triangle is my favorite move. I feel so comfortable on my back. I feel as if most of the time, if someone takes me down, there's more of a chance for me to finish off my back than standing up, and so I feel safer on my back. But I practiced that a lot. I've been working my wrestling a lot. I stopped a few of his takedowns, and he kind of just overpowered me in some little throw. So, but I was glad that he got on my back. I felt really comfortable. I felt right at home.
Well, that actual transition itself, when you're moving the guy over, is that something you thought of when you're trying to sink in the triangle? Were you trying to sink it in to use the transition, or were you actually looking for the finish?
No, I normally I get a triangle and then I look for the sweep right away because I like to hit people in the face. I like to put people to sleep, and a submission too, but I just like hitting people in the face. So I got him in the mounted triangle and I just started hitting him. Yes, I did look for the sweep right away to answer your question.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you, you looked like you had a ton of fans in attendance. and they always seem to be supporting you, and a growing fan base the more you come out and finish first-round fights. Is this something that you look to extend, and how do you feel about the fans that support you?
Yeah, of course. I'm always looking to extend. I want to get the most fans I can, Sacramento area, Bay Area, everywhere, out of California. Everywhere I can get fans, it's awesome. I just want to thank them. They support me so much on Facebook, Twitter, everything. They're always there for me, always repping my shirts, and always the loudest people in the crowd. I love it.
Well, the Golden Boy, Benito Lopez, post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Johnny.
Also on the card, the KO Kid struck again. Nick Christie with a huge knockout of Mika Herbert, who was above him a couple weight classes before the fight. They came and met at this. Christie stepped in on late notice to take the fight against Mika Herbert. A lot of the social media buzz was about the weight class difference, but Nick Christie hits hard, and he said, if he hits you good, you're probably going to go out, and he did that as well. You can check out SRMA.com for more of the stuff. Let's hear what Mr. Christie had to say after the fight.
This is Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at the West Coast Fighting 4 event with the victorious Nick the KO Kid Christie with another big knockout. A lot of thoughts coming into this were that he might be able to outpower you with the size, but you definitely look like speed and technique came together to give you that power. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I went in there and I made one thing I told my corner guys to tell me to take it easy, because I'm known for my cardio and I like to go in there and just go to work. So they kept reminding me, and in my head I kept saying take it easy. So I threw punches and I seen that he would block them, and he wanted to stay blocked. So I was reading it out. I think he wanted me to hit him 1 or 2 times and then try to grab me. So I kept my distance, and then when I clipped him the first time, he did end up grabbing me. He was strong, but I made sure I got away, and then I tried to do my thing. He's a strong guy though.
Well, the thing that I noticed, as well as our other rider who's a big fan of body shots, and you implemented them well, is that something because you saw him blocking a little bit more that you were going to the body? Is that a conscious decision, or did you think that before the fight?
A lot of things I tell people too. I don't care how loud it is in here. I can listen to my corner and I can listen to their corner. Just like when you're in a gym and you're sparring with your partner and someone's coaching him and someone's coaching you, and you listen, because like when they're coaching them and you can hear what they're telling them to do, you counteract before because they're thinking to do it if they're hearing them. And I heard him say to me, body, so I threw a little jab with no power, and he kept up high, and I threw the body, so it worked.
Well, you nicknamed the KO Kid. Every fight I see you in, your hands seem to be a predominant factor in changing the outcome of the fight. Is that something that you bank on coming into the fight, or were you looking for something else from Mika Herbert tonight?
To be honest, I was looking to honestly tire him out. I didn't think I would be able to finish him. Don't get me wrong. I know no matter what weight class, I hit hard. I don't, if I hit you and I hit you good, you're going to feel it. So I honestly wanted to tire him out and work it out, and I'm happy he didn't press me as much as he did, and it just worked in my advantage. It worked out perfect.
Well, you got Dave Huckable also on the card tonight. You train with him. What are your thoughts of that potential matchup, and what do you think that it means to you guys to have so many guys here as far as training partners and multiple fighters on the same card?
It's good to always have extra people here, helping you out, supporting you. I was out there working out upstairs. It was kind of warm up there, so I was just taking it easy. Sometimes I work out too much before a fight. Sometimes I work out too less. So I try to do it just as much, and see where it's at. Dave's ready. He's getting his hand wrapped right now. It's going to be a good fight, man. He's very confident in this fight.
But 2 quick things before we let you go. The injury, what do you expect that to do as far as training for your next upcoming fights? Because I know you want to stay active.
Same thing. Now my thumb's kind of messed up again. I broke it before. Right now I'm going to be doing the same thing. Cardio, get down to 170 and try to fight on that Stockton card and see what happens.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, you step up big for West Coast. They needed someone to take a fight. You step up and take that fight, and you perform better than they probably even expected you to, let's be honest. So what do you think that this does for you in West Coast, and what are you hoping that they're looking to give you in the future to kind of get back for you with that?
I told Brandon, if he wants me on a card, let me know. I'm ready. I'm at a point in my career. I don't want to put Dave Hurstby on the spot, live, but I ask him every time, will he sponsor me? And he likes me, he sponsored me, but I always ask him to manage me, and he's like, he's busy with Feely and all them guys, working him in the UNC. So I'm going to ask him again, will he sponsor me? We'll see what happens. And at this point, I do need a manager, so I'll sit around and look and see who wants to manage me, and then, and just start taking smart fights, because I'm kind of stubborn. I just want to fight. So, but to make my career a little better, I do need a manager and someone to guide me in the right direction.
Well, Nick, the KO Kid with another big knockout at West Coast 4. You can find post coverage at srmma.com. Thanks so much for talking to us, Nick.
Same with you, man. Thanks for having me on. Always appreciate it.
Also on the card was former Ultimate Fighter potential hopeful Max Payne Griffin, who fought once again on the West Coast fighting card. He took on Richard Rigmaiden of Stockton out of Semcal MMA. It was a great fight, a lot of power coming into this one. A lot of people were expecting quite a few things when we talked to him at our live podcast, which you can check out right now if you download us on iTunes. You already have our Weigh-Ins live podcast. Check out what they had to say before the fight. Max Payne, known for his power, this time he finishes with an anaconda choke, showing the world that he has submission skills as well. He spoke with our writer, Matt Zilla, after the fight. Let's hear what he had to say.
This is Matthew with SRMA.com with Max Griffin, who just defeated Richard Rigmaiden at West Coast Fighting Championship number 4 with a anaconda choke. There was some discussion between your coaches of what kind of choke you used.
Yeah, either one. They're pretty much the same choke. So it's good to get a submission. People don't, think I have no ground, so it's good to pull one off.
That was beautiful, too, because you caught him in a takedown, and then as he was coming up, you caught his head. Could you describe what happened technique-wise there?
Well, I wasn't planning on taking him down. I had him on the cage, and the takedown was there. And I've been working on my ground a lot. So a technique is you kind of let him come into the submission. So as he was trying to get up, I was setting it up, and it was a wrap.
Awesome.
I knew I had him.
So you were in the Ultimate Fighter, and you're looking to get back in the UFC. How far do you think you have till they start noticing again?
They said 2 or 3 fights, 2 or 3 good fights, and they want me back.
Excellent. Can you talk about your training camp?
I had an excellent training camp. I've been training at my home, Mary Nobles, Morrissey's Elite. I've been blessed to go to Voodoo with Gene Fields in Stockton. I've been training with Dave Huckabee at Huckabee's Hole in the Wall. I've been training with guys at Team Carnage. So I've been going all around everywhere. I've been training with everyone.
All that experience gives you a broad spectrum of skills then.
Yeah, different guys, different gyms have different fighting styles and different guys, and it's a blessing to put it all together and be confident about everything I can do.
Are there any other fights you have coming up?
Working on that. I'm good buddies with all the guys in Ultimate Fighter, and they all fight in big shows. Only 2 of them got picked up out of 16 of them. So I'm talking to them, and we're talking to their promoters, and I'm going to start fighting, all across the U.S., Florida, Ohio, Texas, wherever.
New York, if New York ever lets it happen.
Yeah.
All right, so, is there anything else you'd like to say to your fans?
I love you guys, and I wouldn't, be here if it wasn't for you guys.
All right, thank you very much. This has been Max Griffin, or SRMA.com.
Thank you.
Matt Zilla was a busy man that night because Max Payne Griffin's teammate Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is a 10-0 amateur now with 5 amateur mixed martial arts belts in 2 separate states. He holds belts in Reno, California. He's also the West Coast regional champion. I mean, this kid is talented, and he finished the first round with another knockout victory, and it was cold. This kid is calculated. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, if you hadn't checked him out yet, you can check him out on Facebook. You can check out the fight at srmma.com. Matt Zilla spoke to him after the event. Let's hear what he had to say about going 10-0.
This is Matthew from SRMA.com with Anthony Hernandez, the new camo middleweight champion who just defeated Matt Wilson, and you are now 10-0. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
How's it feel to be champion? Well, I mean, this is your 5th one, right?
Yeah, 5th belt. So it feels good. I just want to keep collecting belts until I'm ready to go pro. So that's my goal in life.
How many belts will it take before you go pro?
I'll tell you the truth, it's up to my coach. So I don't really know. I'm only 19 right now, so I still got forever to go pro. I have plenty of time.
That's true. You don't need a rush.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You don't have to. So it was a 43-second fight. You won the first round. It was very fast. Could you describe what happened in there?
Tell you the truth, I don't remember. I got to see film. I know I got jab. I threw a jab hook, and it set the uppercut right up. So
it looked like he was throwing a lot, but you were able to kind of just stay out of his range to avoid his attacks and land your own. Is that? Can you talk about your footwork?
Well, I'm a kickboxer, so everything that has to do with movement and kicks and stuff, I see it naturally. It comes natural to me because I'm so used to training it every day. So it's just something I'm used to. So it works for me.
Your teammate Max Griffin is here. He's your teammate, right?
Yeah, he is.
How do you feel about his upcoming fight?
Man, Max is like an older brother to me, so I get really nervous when he fights. Sometimes I'm just like, I wish I was in there for him, but I know he's gonna do work tonight. I know he will.
Excellent. Anything you'd like to say about your team or to your fans?
I'd just like to thank everyone for all the support. I had surgery, I got hurt, and I'm just trying to come back twice as hard. Thanks to my coaches. Definitely love my coaches. I wouldn't be anything without them. And thank you guys for the interview.
All right, thank you very much. This has been SR MMA with Anthony Hernandez.
Season 17 of The Ultimate Fighter had contestant Scott Rosa on the show. You can check it out now. It's going to be playing on FX. But his last fight before going on to the television series was at West Coast Fighting Championships. SRMA was there live for Scott Rosa as he KO'd his way to another victory with vicious knees. Matt Zola, always a busy man while he's at the shows, talked to Scott Rosa after the event. Let's hear what Rosa had to say about his biggest victory yet.
This is Matthew from SRMMA.com with Scott Rosa, who just defeated Rafael De Real by a TKO in the first round. How do you feel?
Feeling pretty good. Nice comeback fight. I lost my, but yeah, feeling good. I think it was TKO with knees and punches.
So you took the fight on a week's notice. Does that mean that someone dropped out?
No, I called the promoter, Brandon. I really wanted to fight. I was supposed to have a fight in February, and it got canceled, or just never fell through. So I just called Brandon, the promoter, and he was nice enough to get me on the card short notice. And my opponent took the fight too. So, just nice. Just good to get a good fight, a quick fight.
That ending was very fast. Could you describe what happened?
Yeah, he's a lot shorter than me. I think my opponent was about 5'10" or so, and I stand about 6'6", so I'm always got more range on the guys. And the game plan was to hold him off with jabs, keep him away, and when he comes inside, which he was looking for a takedown, just let those knees loose, and I did. I just kneed him a bunch of times, lots of knees.
Before he went for a takedown, he did an overhand right that sounded pretty hard. Was that as hard as it sounded?
Yeah, he actually did clock me. Me and my trainer were talking before the fight. He wants me circling back and forth, left to right, lateral movement, not straight to back, and I went just straight to him, and that's why he caught me. But I in the past, I've had a pretty good chin.
Awesome. You have any other fights lined up?
I got one March 23rd in Stockton, and I'm hoping to get one before that. I like to fight at least once a month or once every other month, but for sure, Stockton, March 23rd.
So you're an independent fighter. Have you ever belonged to a team, or is this the way you prefer to train?
I prefer to train like this. I have been part of teams before, and I do train at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Reno and the Reno Academy of Combat from time to time. But I prefer to be on my own. I have my buddies Jeff and Memo. They help me out, and just anybody who wants to help me, helps me out.
Excellent. Anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Thanks for supporting me, coming down and watching me fight.
All right, thank you. This has been SRMA with Scott Rosa.
And the main event of the evening was a former kickboxing champion, Carter Williams, for you guys that haven't heard of him, against Dave Badman Huckabee, who's been putting on a win streak lately that many heavyweights are not able to touch. He just recently signed a 5-fight deal after this fight. He wins the heavyweight title with a brutal TKO. This fight is not what you expected. It went a little longer than most people thought. But Dave Huckabee was even bad enough to throw a flying knee. That big man got off the air with a flying knee. And afterwards, he said he's still the best looking heavyweight in the sport, and he wasn't intimidated in any way. I was able to speak to him after his championship victory. Let's hear what the main event fighter Dave had to say.
This is Jay Watt from SRMA.com. We're here live at the West Coast Fighting 4 event. The new West Coast heavyweight champion. How's that feel?
Man, it feels great. How do I look?
Well, you look outstanding. I mean, just like a fighter, like a true fighter.
Still the best looking heavyweight in the sport, but what did you do? We had 2 rounds, right? We went into the second a little bit.
Round and a half.
Yeah, he was tough, man. I knew he would gas. The longer the fight go, the better it was for me. I got good win.
We talked before the fight about his kicks being, part of his stand-up game that you most watched, and he definitely tried to implement that early. How'd you counter that?
Not bad. You seen the kicks weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. I'm a little tougher than the average Joe, though. I mean, being real, man, all bullshit aside, man. Shit, man, I'm tough, man. That's it, I guess.
You didn't chop him.
Yeah. I think he was nervous. He was intimidated with my hands. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I punch hard, and then he felt it. He felt it. So that's why he went on the ground. Come on, he's K1, and he gets me on the ground. What are you thinking? Is it, going through his mind?
Well, 2 more things for you. One, I wanted to ask you. The finish itself. It looked like he just couldn't find anything else to go, and you were still going. Is that the training kicking in, or is that momentum?
Yeah, that's these guys, man. These guys, we spar. We do 2 minutes with each guy, 2 minutes. I fight 13 guys in one session. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, man. I mean, we're not going to stop. We push each other like this. Thomas, Nick Christie, all my boys in the gym. Josh Appel, Rob Jackson helped me out. I mean, man, Max Griffin, Anthony, Fluffy, all these guys, man, we all cross-train together, dude. Sack ain't no punk, dog. We got some savages out here.
Well, last thing I want to ask you, you said you wanted to make a big year, go out with a bang in 2013. First fight of the year, you pull out a heavyweight title in a respected organization. What does that mean to you, and how do you think that plays into your plan for the year?
Way to start the year out, guys. I got a 5-fight contract sitting at home right now. As soon as I sign it, probably tomorrow, I'll let you guys know who it's with and everything else. We're just negotiating right now, but big things are happening for Dave this year. I might not retire this year. We might go a little bit longer now. I got the opportunity that I got a 5-fight deal that's going to pay really nice, man. So I just thank the Lord for putting me here, man. First of all, man, I'm just blessed. That's it.
You can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. Thank you for talking to us, Dave.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome, man.
Back to some live amateur and professional MMA coverage from srmma.com. The very next day, for you guys that hadn't heard, from our West Coast fighting, we traveled out to the Chicken Ranch Casino for the Art of War event with Randall Buddy Wallace in the main event of the evening with a title fight. There's so many titles on the card. Justine Estrada was able to pull out a victory. Mercedes Campos was defending her title. It was a spectacular event, and the first person that we had the opportunity to really sit down and discuss their title aspirations moving forward now that they're professionally won the Art of War title was Randall Buddy Wallace. He spoke with us after the event. He said he was really excited. His training coming into the event had him prepared for his last-minute replacement, and he pulled off the title victory. So let's hear what Randall had to say.
This is Jay Watt from srma.com. We're here live at the Art of War event with the victorious Randall Wallace, who's now the middleweight champion. How does it feel to be announced that way?
Feels good. I went up a weight class. I normally want to fight at 170, but I wanted some more competition, so I figured I'd go up, and it feels good to, give the fans what they wanted.
Well, main event, how does it feel to be involved with the organization to be put on top bill?
Oh, it feels great. I think the world of Last Stand Fight Team and Art of War production, Tom Theophanopoulos helping fighters out, throwing the shows, and it just feels great. It's an honor to be on top tonight.
Well, as far as the fight itself was concerned, he seemed to come out willing to exchange, but you just really overpowered him, and you were really dominant, and then you just pounded away. I mean, what are your thoughts of the finish and how the fight went?
Yeah, I give props to that guy. He took the fight on last second, and he had range on me. I wanted to stand up more, but I got a little nervous. He started throwing haymakers, so I just went in, got in tight, and went to what I knew best.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, everyone celebrates a different way. You got the title around your waist, so you're going to go party, you're going to go stuff your face. I mean, how are you going to celebrate this?
I'm gonna celebrate a little bit. I'm just going to hang out with family mostly and enjoy my night,
You can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. Middleweight champion Randall Wallace. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Now, that might have been the main event of the evening, but the female fighters stole the show on the Art of War event, hands down. And one of the first ones was high school senior making her MMA debut, Killer Kelly McGill, who's already set to fight March 2nd at the next Art of War event. She finished with a powerful 7-second knockout. I'm not even kidding you. We were about to walk back to our seats to cover the fight, and then my photographer says, well, that one was over. She was done. Done deal. Killer Kelly McGill is a legitimate amateur female fighter, and I'm looking forward to her next fight. Let's hear what she had to say about her whole preparation, losing school functions and all this stuff just to get to this moment in her life. And she said it's just the beginning for her. She's ready to go move on. So let's hear what she had to say.
This is Jay Watt from srma.com. We're here live at the Art of War event talking to a victorious Killer Kelly McGill. The fight only lasted 10 seconds, so there's not very much to talk about. 7 seconds. Wow, I stand corrected. So I don't know really where you want to go with it, other than it was really destructive and vicious. What were your thoughts of the finish?
I was really proud. I've been training hard for this fight. I was excited to just fight in general now that I got the win. I'm excited to train hard again and come back March 2nd.
Well, speaking of March 2nd, they've already put that card together, and Art of War seems to really like you, and why would they not? You seem to make the crowd happy. What do you think about the way that you go out there and just execute?
This was my debut, so I didn't really have a game plan with anything. Like I said, I was well prepared for all of this. I trained at Last Stand, and they're great at everything. They've helped me with everything. So I felt prepared for this fight, so I'm just excited for March 2nd.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you, coming into this game, what are your thoughts about it before you got into it, and now kind of how you're getting a victory in the way that you are? What do you think about it now?
I came into it pretty confident. Like I said, I've been training hard. I've given up so much. It's my senior year in high school, and I'm missing formal and everything just to train. So, I'm really dedicated to this. I want to go far with this, and this is just the beginning for me.
Well, you can find post-fight coverage at srma.com. Thank you so much for talking to us, Kelly.
Thank you.
Team Dynamic has another talented 2-0 female fighter, Justine Estrada. She took on Donna Castro, who is also an Art of War champion who is trying to make history by winning 2 Art of War titles in 2 different weight classes. Estrada was her opponent, and this fight went back and forth. Castro was a game opponent. She was swinging haymakers all the time, especially in the clinch, but Justine Estrada's clinch was just dirty. She said she prefers Muay Thais, and she finished with a head kick knockout. If you check out our Facebook, go to facebook.com/SRMMA, go to our photo section, you will find the Art of War photo. It looks like Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston, and some people on Facebook even likened it to that, and I thought it was outstanding. She finished with a beautiful head kick, knocked her out cold, and now she's an Art of War champion. So let's hear what Justine Estrada had to say.
This is JWA from SRMA.com. We're here at the Art of War event talking to the new female bantamweight champion, Justine Estrada. First, how does that feel to be announced that way?
It feels great. I've been working really hard to get to this point. Thanks to my coaches, Paul and Matt, I finally made it. Got a title. It was my second fight. I'm excited to see where else I can go from here.
Well, as far as the finish, let's jump right to it. I mean, it was devastating, and you had landed the head kick a couple times before in the fight, but that one was really a finisher. I mean, do you think it was maybe cardio that kicked in, or what do you think was so much on that kick that the other ones may not have had?
She's tough. I was trying to knock her out early on in the round. She wouldn't go down. I think, just perfect timing. She just went down at the same time I brought my leg up to her head and just worked out for my favor.
Well, during the fight, you looked like you were able to muscle her against the cage, get her in the clinch, land some knees, some really dirty punches in the clinch. I mean, was that your game plan coming in? You look kind of like the bigger fighter.
Yeah, I'm primarily a Muay Thai fighter, so I wanted to keep it standing. I'm a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu too, but I love striking, So I love the clinch, and I could tell the knees were really affecting her. So I figured eventually, she's not going to be able to take it anymore.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, everyone celebrates in a different way. What are you going to do? You're going to pig out? You're going to go hang out with friends? I mean, what's the way that you're going to relax now that you got the title around your waist?
I'm going to go pig out with my family and friends.
You can find post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you for talking to us, Justine.
Thank you.
The always vicious and yet somehow still beautiful Mercedes Campos came out and put on another outstanding affair in her first title defense of the Art of War title that she was able to pull out the last time she fought. She fought Serena Soto at this last event, and this bout actually went 2 rounds. And Mercedes Campos is known for being an early finisher, and she definitely had a war with Serena Soto. Soto brought it, but Campos was able to legitimize her championship, winning by armbar. And afterwards, she couldn't find too many words to express how happy she was, but she was definitely excited to become a legitimate champion and to prove herself once again. So let's hear what the champion, Mercedes Campos, was talking about.
This is JWA from SRMA.com. We're here live at the Art of War event talking to the defending strawweight champion, Mercedes Campos. What was different about this fight than any other? It was a little bit longer, but you still got the same result.
This girl was tough. I was happy. I finally got me a war. I'm excited. It went past the first round, so I'm all happy.
Well, in the first round, you looked like you were just throwing bombs, and she was taking them, and then for the most part, she was trying to give them back. I mean, what are your thoughts about her coming as an opponent? She seemed pretty game.
Yeah, she was game. That's what I loved it. She gave me a war. That's all. I'm happy. That's all.
Well, when I talked to you before, you said that you were very excited to make your first defense of the title. I mean, now you've won the championship, and everyone kind of says, you're not really the champion until you defend it. Now you've got that defense. I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
I'm a champ now. I'm excited. I'm a champ. Shoot. No one can say I'm not because I actually defended my belt. So.
Well, as far as training was concerned, Serena Soto, I mean, there wasn't much tape on her, so to speak, but she seemed like, from what I had heard, that she was going to come out aggressively. Is that something that not only you expected and tried to counter, or were you just hoping that it was going to go that way?
Oh, of course, I knew it. I know that she's come down from, I think she fought, her last fight was at 125s, I believe, so I know she's come down from a heavier weight, so I knew that she's going to be training her ass off to get that weight off, so I was like, yeah, she's going to be tough.
Well, last thing I wanted to ask you, everyone celebrates in a different way. What's the way that you're going to celebrate? You're going to eat a ton of food? You're going to go party? I mean, what are you going to do?
I'm going to party and eat a whole bunch of food.
There you go, Mercedes Campos, post-fight coverage at SRMA.com. Thank you for talking to us, Mercedes.
Thank you.
Now we get to the main event of episode 34 Warriors on the Verbal Scrap podcast. I had the opportunity to speak to UFC Bantamweight Championship hopeful Micheal MayDay McDonald out of Modesto, Last Stand Fight Team. He's taking on the current champion, Renan Barao, who recently beat Uriah Faber for the interim championship, and now he's the legitimate champion at the moment, taking on Micheal MayDay Miller, February 16th in London, United Kingdom at the Wembley Arena. For you guys that don't know, it's going to be on Fuel TV, so you can check it out. Fuel TV live on the 16th. I spoke to him. He's going to be taking on a guy who hasn't lost in 20-plus fights for a championship. And you know what was surprising is McDonald expressed many times that he doesn't even think about winning the championship at the moment. When it comes to him, he will definitely be excited for it. And I thought that was fascinating that a guy could have an opportunity to win a UFC title, and it's not even the first thing on his mind. All he's thinking about is preparation. So Last Stand Fight Team, legitimate fight team, I spoke to Michael MayDay McDonald. Let's hear what the man had to say.
This is Jay Watt from SRMMA.com. We're here at Art of War with special guest Michael MayDay McDonald from Modesto. You're here with Team Last Stand. Tell us more about the event and how you got so many people on the team coming here.
Oh, man. The event is it's a very family-oriented show. It's very fast-paced. The rounds are a little bit shorter than normal, so we want to get the fights going. We don't want people laying on each other.
There's a lot of fights.
There's a lot of fights, and we just got a lot of people, man. It's a great place to be. Our whole team is very family-oriented. It's a very good place to be, whether you're in, late 80s, wanting to get into shape, or you want to
a nice six-pack at the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Or whether you want to be a world champion or something. It's a very family-oriented place, and just everything you need is there. So we just have a lot of people that are coming up and really bonding together as family.
Well, speaking of world champion, you just got that shot. The last time I talked to you, you said you didn't have any expectations. You're just waiting to see what the UFC wants to do, and they wanted to put you in their title hunt. You're going to be fighting Renan Barao next month. What are your thoughts? Just firstly, getting the opportunity from the UFC.
I actually don't think about it too much. I feel that when people think about the opportunities, it creates anxiety and emotions, and it clouds judgment. I think emotion clouds judgment, and I'd rather just not to think about it. I just want to think about my fight and just train, and when the fight comes, it comes, and when it's over, and then I can celebrate.
Well, your opponent, Renan Barao, I'm sure you saw him fight Uriah Faber last for the interim title. What do you think about that matchup? What do you take from it and try to think that, maybe you can implement better than maybe Uriah did?
I don't think in terms of me trying to outdo Uriah and what Uriah did, or even trying to outdo Renan and what Renan does. I completely base my strategies off of what I'm good at, and I feel like what Renan Barao is good at is his athletics. I feel like he's a crazy good athlete and all high-flying moves. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's very quick. But I feel what my strengths are my basics and my defense. I don't get punched a whole lot in my fights, and I feel like when I do, it's very hard, and everything is very basic what I do. And I think if I'm going to match myself up against him and what he's good at, I'm going to lose. I'm not as athletic as him, and I don't do those high-flying moves, but I don't think he can match me when it comes to my strengths and my basics and my defense. I feel like that's what I'm banking on.
Well, when there's a war between two guys that, like you and Renan, you both have amazing records, big win streaks, and not just winning, boring fights. You finish in dominant fashion. Something's eventually got to give. What do you think is your biggest attribute going into the cage? Is it your mental state? Is it your physical state? What do you think it is?
I definitely think it's my mental state. I always focus everything in my training off of martial arts over athletics. And anytime there's a martial arts versus an athlete, I always go for the martial artist. I think that's where a lot of people screw up, is they put athletics above it. They start, I'm just going to go hit pads, or I'm going to go for a run instead of learning martial arts, preparing their mind. And I feel like I go in with a very adaptable mind with no game plan and just a solid foundation of my knowledge of martial arts, and my athletics are secondary to that.
Well, I just had two more quick things for you. This one's going to be in London. What does that travel across the pond kind of do as far as training, preparing the last week before the fight?
Not a whole lot. It's just making sure that when I go there, I rest when I need to rest. It's not this time yet. I can't rest. Yeah. No, my body's going to be resting at weird times and doing weird things. I just need to let it come. It's not going to be any huge disadvantage because Renan's coming from Brazil. And
it's a long distance.
Yeah, exactly. He got it worse than I do, so it's not going to be that bad. I don't have to do it perfect. I just got to do it better than my opponent.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you, UFC champion. I know that's something that everyone that you talk to on the amateur level, pro levels, making their way up, they always talk about being UFC champion. You have the opportunity to do it. What would that mean to you as far as, leading the way for your gym and all the people that look up to you?
Well, my honest answer?
I very much do.
I don't think about it.
At all?
No.
Not one bit?
No, I don't want to think about it, and I'll think about it afterwards, and afterwards it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to celebrate it up, and I'm going to really think about what's going on. But until then, I don't want to look at a belt. I don't want to think about a belt. I don't want it there. I don't want to look at it. I just want to fight, and that's it. I don't want to even look at it. Don't talk to me about it. I'm just here to fight, and that's it. Afterwards, I'll deal with the belt.
Well, you can check out UFC.com for more information. We're talking to Michael MayDay McDonald, fighting next month for the UFC. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem, man.
And that was my favorite portion of the show. I want to give a big shout out to him, and I really hope him the best next month. There'll be more coverage to come of that UFC event where he's going to be taking on Renan Barao. Shout out to One Fit Body for being one of our sponsors for the show. You check out onefitbody.net. Check them out all day long. El Dorado Hills. Celio Ty, he's the best. You got to check him out. Big shout out to Midtown Village Cafe. Check out midtownvillagecafe.com on 19th and I. Dyer Peril. They are awesome, and thank Jay for being in studio. I really appreciate that man coming in. And also, lastly but not least, check out SRMA.com for all your post-fight coverage. Big shout out to all the fans that are listening. Thank you so much. You make the show. If you weren't listening, then we wouldn't be doing it. So thanks for reading. Thanks for sharing. I mean, I really appreciate all the fans that just come up and say thanks for putting their fighters out there, and I really appreciate the fighters for talking to us. We wouldn't be able to put on this show for the fans if you guys didn't interact with us. So check out SRMA.com. Thank you so much for listening to the 34th episode of the Verbal Scrap Podcast, and stay with us on iTunes to check out the 35th.
The seeds of action is brainwashed on. Abused by corporate media, we are fooled. Naturals will play the body.